You're listening to the Gettin' Salty Experience podcast.
And away we go.
Let me guess.
What is it that you have there?
Wow. Welcome back to another episode of the Gettin' Salty Experience podcast. It's the only one that brings you to the Firehouse kitchen table, or it's the only one where we bring the Firehouse kitchen table to you. You want to know what this is? Anybody in the chat guess what this is?
I can guess what it is. Jeez.
It is a back scratcher, but
anybody know what this is? Anybody?
It's a roof foot, Gary Schmitz.
Yeah,
it's a roof foot, kangaroo foot. That's
it's
it.
A kangaroo
foot. Kangaroo foot. It's a real kangaroo foot. And my buddy, we met him where did we meet him? In Indy? In Australia.
He gave me a whole kangaroo belt.
Yeah. He's the one who gave us the kangaroo ball bag. The
original ball bag. Yeah, the nutsack.
So he said this to me. My kids were horrified when I opened it up.
It's like a chicken leg.
Yeah.
It does look like
it's
a turkey
furry
foot.
too. Look, it's furry.
But how is it scratched? Does it scratch good?
Oh, beautiful. Oh, my God. Oh, beautiful. But wait. There's more.
There's more.
Let me tell you what he writes. He goes, to paraphrase Crocodile Dundee, that's not a bottle opener. This is a bottle opener. And yes,
what the hell is that?
It's a hairy ball bag.
Furry, hairy ball bag.
Oh my
kangaroo
God.
Ball bag.
You know what that looks like? It looks like a
flexing guy on the top.
It looks like it looks like a thing of
down into the most muscular.
Wow.
That's him right there.
Wow.
Furry ball bag.
Did you ever see those kangaroos? They're jacked.
Some of them are.
Yeah.
He's a man of culture, Kevin.
Think they're on the juice?
He says, the lads here, retired and still working. Reckon you guys are all right. I think so too, mate. Now piss off.
Boy.
Now piss off,
piss off. Yeah.
Piss off, eh?
That's my boy Philly Pop.
No, he's awesome.
Yep.
Love when somebody's got a hairy ball bag in their mail.
You can't beat it, man. Yeah.
What's better than a hairy ball bag, Pete?
Holy crap.
I might hang this.
I'm actually disturbed. I have very little to say.
I might hang this from the rearview mirror of the Hellcat. No, like that.
It's less the ball bag than the claw.
You know what you got to do? You got to put the ball bag on your license plate. Hang the ball bag. You ever see those ones where they hang the ball bag? Yeah.
That's not too bad. That's actually an idea. I don't mind. The ball bag doesn't look too bad. It almost looks like for the listening audience, right? The claw is just like literally a decapitated or not a decapitated, it's kangaroo's hand on the end of a stick. So that's weird, but whatever. And then the other thing almost looks like a furry garlic. You know what I mean? Like that. Look at him. He's got problems, man.
Getting the hook.
I'm getting the hook. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yep.
So you got a couple of kangaroo ball bags now, and a claw. Fucking claw.
Look at me. Who's better than me?
Nobody. I guess.
And
how was Ohio, dude?
Look at this shit. Listen. It's the other tit. Listen, right here. Original, right here. Check it out with the alarm box and the American flag. This is the Firehouse Magazine trade show official shirt. We still have some left. Get over there. Check out the old back on the back, bro. Back on the back.
Oh, that is actually really freaking cool. That is cool.
And Ruffy put them on sale. Closeout. Get them.
Nice.
Those
Firehouse Expo tees. Those are cool. Actually, whoever did the graphic on that did a freaking great job. That's awesome.
We had a great time.
How'd it go?
Boy, PD Matthews. They got us a free booth. Yep, I said free. No fireman loves free better than me. Free. We got a booth.
Correct.
And we did the show. We made
McDonald's every night was really tough.
McDonald's was killing me every night, Pete. You know how that worked, right?
Yeah. It's too bad, that you guys couldn't get anything good over there. That Louis couldn't break out his wallet,
Dude, we ate at one restaurant. I don't think I've ever eaten at a better restaurant in my life.
No
Everything
way.
You know Cliffy, right? Cliffy dog, Cliffy Huggy.
He was doing a happy
Dude, he was doing the dance when he was eating.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That was the best. I think it was the best meal I ever had in my life.
Yes. And
wow.
then the next night I had a 24-ounce porterhouse. I almost Needless to say, I didn't make it back to the bathroom in time, but it was amazing. Yep.
Oh man! So it sounds
I didn't
like
know. Who knew that?
How was the drive out though?
Porterhouse at Burger King. Who knew? It's a new
nobody almost lost their heads on the drive out or anything like that.
No. It was good. We all took turns. We all took turns. Wait a minute. Cliffy and I took turns driving out there.
I see how it goes. Ruffy flew private.
El Presidente doesn't drive, bro.
He flew private.
I drive my leg. That's it.
His leg. Oh, from where we meet him.
Harrisburg. Yeah, we meet him in Harrisburg.
Nice. That's good.
He must have been exhausted.
Did you meet some new fun fans at the show?
Oh, we did. We met a lot of cool guys.
Yeah.
Good time.
Nice people. Good vibes.
That show is coming back. Yeah. When it was in Baltimore, great show. It moved to Tennessee. Now it's over in Ohio. And I think it's on its comeback.
Do we want to do that again?
Oh,
yeah, we're gonna do it again. I think.
Yeah.
Nice. Yep. Awesome, dude. Awesome. Yep. I'm happy to hear it, man. I think next time I'll try and make it out. That was awesome.
Good time. Met a lot of cool guys. Good time, man.
Can you imagine there are guys that actually this is the first time they heard about it when we were at the show? Can you believe it?
What? About the podcast?
Yeah.
Come on, crazy. You know why? Because you assholes aren't spreading it. Will you spread it for crying out loud?
Spread your assholes, guys. Come on. All right. We got 27,000 subs. And there are 1 million firefighters in the country.
We're a little short.
All right.
We're a little short.
Next.
Yeah.
You're short.
All right.
All right. Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time. But you guys know the deal. Let's get through the let's pay the bill so we can get our esteemed guest on here because he's got a full head of hair and he's about to show the world
does he,
what
man.
It looks like. It's amazing.
These Detroit guys, I tell you, they're good looking.
Yeah, and he's not fucking around too. He looks like he'll crack you one if you get out of line with his lady.
I think he'll give you a little backhander.
Yeah, I've seen the look in his eye, man.
You know how I knew he was a badass? When he told me he doesn't go rucking. I'm like, that's a badass right there, bro.
He lost all. That's it. Never mind. Now I know he's not the
swinging him. He struck him out.
He's not up on the boardwalk rucking.
Ruck, baby. Let's go. We're going this weekend.
Correct.
All right. So everybody knows the deal. We have the best sponsors in the game. That's right. And tonight we will bring you a spot from New Jersey Fire Equipment Company. Established in 1930 and under the current ownership since 1987, the New Jersey Fire Equipment Company handles a complete line of fire department equipment and supplies. Headquartered in Greenbrook, the company operates full 3M Scott service facilities in Ridgefield Park and Toms River, staffed by 10 fully authorized Scott certified technicians with a fleet of 6 fully equipped service vans. All New Jersey Fire technicians and sales representatives are active or retired firefighters, officers or chief officers, career and volunteer. They understand the business and the importance of their work. New Jersey Fire has represented Scott since Earl Scott entered the SCBA business at the end of World War II. Among other leading manufacturers represented by New Jersey Fire are Globe and Firedex Turnout Gear, Mercedes Hose, Task Force Tips and Akron Brass, Hygenol, Firehooks, Arctic Compressors, MSA Carnes Helmets, ChemGuard Foam, Alkalite and Duo Safety Ladders, BA Face Shield Protectors, Truckman's Choice Saws, Grove's Gear Racks and Washer Dryers, Supervac Fans, RPI, Streamlight, and many others. A New Jersey incorporated and based company, sales and service are limited to the state of New Jersey. Find us now at www.njfe.com. That's www.njfe.com. Yes. And last but not least, guys, GettinSaltyApparel.com, GettinSaltyApparel.com, where you will find hats like this or that shirt that Kubies is wearing right now from the Firehouse Expo on sale, clearance. Go get it. Go get it because it does have. I like that. It's one of my. I'm out to snag one of those American flags, pole boxes, and rigs. Come on, great graphic, guys. If you are here tonight, hit us up in the super chat if you can, if you so shall. You guys are our number one sponsors, of course, and number one syndicators. So we would appreciate any love you want to throw us, a few shekels, and if you guys are watching this post show, hit us up in the super thanks. It's kind of the Patreon version of YouTube. So check that out, please. If you want to support us, that is the way. And that is all. Do we get to our guest, our esteemed guest?
He's a hard charger. Because you know why? Because we always bring you the hard charges, bro. You know, because we're getting salty. It's the experience. The getting salty experience brings you hard charges. And Detroit, no joke, bro.
Hey, I never saw any fire over there.
Oh, come on.
What?
Yeah. A lot of fires. And not only that, this guy got on the Warriors, bro. I think it's their Warriors, too. I'm almost sure. 73. A lot of you young little snots weren't even born in 73. But this guy was doing it. He was doing it, Steven, in 1973 in Detroit. He would do various squads, bro. He skipped around all over the place.
Yeah, he did
a
lot of squad.
Yeah, man. So I'm almost sure he saw some fire. Let's bring him in here, Petey.
There we go.
Captain Frank English.
Look at him, that son of a gun. Look at him.
The smile, the hair, he's got it all. Look at him.
He's got the hair.
How's it going, Cap?
It's going most excellent. Very honored to be here in front of you guys and talking to my brothers out there.
It's our honor, believe me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right, before we get cooking, Pete, and Susie loses her pants in there, you got to do the pledge.
Well,
keep your pants on, Susie.
Please, Susie, keep your pants on, at least for the Pledge of Allegiance, ladies and gentlemen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You're damn
Best
right.
G-damn country. Amen. You can try to destroy this country, but it ain't happening, pal. Jack. Come on, man.
Look, Jack. Come on, man. Look here, Jack. Come on.
Come on, man. You ain't gonna destroy. Man.
I'm gonna try to destroy everything, Jack, man, because Corn Pop told me with the chain when he was rubbing my legs and the Harry and the sun and the kids rubbed it down in the pool, man. Come on.
Come on, Jack.
Why do you get the guy rolling?
Look here, man. Vladimir, man. Nah, Jack. Nah.
All right. Let's get to the word of the day. So the alcoholics can. Yes. Hold on.
Oh my God.
My full head of hair.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have the word of the day. The word of the day for the new listeners is a little drinking game we play with you all when we say the word of the day, and you hear a certain sound you're about to hear. Have a little sip. Or have a big sip, however you want to do it. But the word of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is plumbob.
Plumbob!
I have no idea what the hell that means.
I don't either. Listen, the guy who sent it to me said the captain would know what that meant. He could tell us what a plumbob is.
What the hell's a plumbob?
What is a plumbob, Cap?
Well, a plumbob is a hydrant wrench that has a length of rope on it with a piece of lead. A lot of times they came out of old windows, and we check hydrants with it. We open up the outlet, we drop it down there, and if it doesn't go all the way to the bottom, the hydrant's frozen, it's out of service.
Look at that. That could be an old school tip of the day right there, bro.
That is pretty old school tip. Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, he wrote me something else. I don't remember what the hell he wrote. He said it would be funny, but I don't know. I can't find it right. So it's plumbob is the word of the day.
That's correct.
It's plumbob is the word of the day.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I know.
All right.
Maybe back to back.
Right, Cap. What's the hold
The captain just started. Let him.
All right, we're gonna ease into it because we gotta go. Pete, we gotta get that song. Let's go back, way back.
Oh,
back
I can do that.
Time.
I got that.
Can you find that for me?
I got that.
Find that for me.
But go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
We're gonna go back to. Before we go back to 1973, let's go way back to Detroit, to a young Frank English, and give us a little bit of history, where you grew up, what got you into the fire service, any family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, it's very funny. As I mentioned, I never knew any firemen. We never had any in our neighborhood. We lived on the east side of Detroit in a pretty modest, pre-World War II bungalow, wooden bungalow, and everybody knew everybody. And My dad really wanted me to go to college in the worst way, but I was kind of a lazy student and ended up getting drafted during Vietnam. I stayed stateside. And when I came back, my dad had an industrial catering business that I developed a couple of routes with. And over time, they kind of didn't do well, as Detroit didn't do well. And I ended up working for American Detroit Honda stores, which were they sold Hondas, BMWs, Yamahas. And I worked multiple, sales guy, parts manager, service manager. And then one day some guy came over to the house. He says, "Hey, man," he says, he threw me his hat. He had gone through the fire academy. He says, "You ought to try this, I said, "I don't want to be a fireman." I didn't even know any firemen, right? He's like, "I'll take the test. You can always pass it if you don't like it." And I went down to Coble Hall, and seemed like 1,000 people down there. I never thought I had a chance. And I wrote the test the end of October. I took the agility test the end of November. And I started the academy, and 2 months later in January.
Wow.
It was quite whirlwind. I never expected to get hired so quickly. A good old parochial school upbringing, I guess.
Nice.
No record.
What was, Detroit at one time, wasn't it a booming place with the auto industry?
It was dynamite in the 50s because, it was car manufacturing center of the world. And, we had, I don't know, 1.5 million, 2 million people there at one time. And I think we're probably sitting at about 750 to 800,000 people today, although the population's growing because downtown is growing as a place to live, not as a place just to work and run out to the burbs when you're done, So it was a great city. We would go downtown at Christmas time, take the bus, go to J.L. Hudson's and look at the Christmas decorations before Fields bought them out, and went to the parades downtown, and like that. It was a great. It was a great, safe place to live.
Right.
People slept on their Davenports on their porch in the summer. Never locked your doors. You've heard that story a million times from old people. Just the way it was.
Chief Dombrowski said the same. You could. Obviously, everybody knows. Detroit was high in the 40s, 50s, right? Then it came down, and now it's coming back up. He said the same thing, that, like you were saying in the pre-show, that it's really, coming along, and he was happy to see that because he's definitely a heart and soul Detroit guy, right? So
yes, he is.
Yeah.
Both are.
What did your parents think about when you said you want to become a fireman?
Well, it's kind of funny. Here's a funny. Actually, when I was in a battalion director at the Union, I wrote an article called "Mom's Advice," and my mother had told me, she says, "Why don't you get a nice, clean job and become a fireman?" And, yeah, she told me.
That's great. Oxymoron.
So anyways, I wrote an article on that, and I says, "You know what? Mom was right. It is a good, clean job. You're not disrupting marital disputes. You're not stopping bank robbers. You're doing a clean job. Nobody dislikes what you're doing. You're doing a service to the city."
Right.
So she was right, just in a different way. I interpreted it a little differently. That's all.
Yeah, you talk about five, and they're happy to see you when you.
Yes, they are.
Usually there to help.
They are happy to see us.
Yeah, as opposed to a cop, they're there for a reason. That either you're doing something you shouldn't be, or
right.
That's
right. That's right.
They're not really too thrilled to see you when they come.
So my dad, and my mom were very proud of me. And as my family was, we never had any firefighters in our family, obviously. So it was, I agree. And on top of everything else, it grew me up. I was a little immature. I was 25, and I was still pretty immature. I didn't like cutting grass and painting my house and stuff like that. I was pretty lazy. And, the Army kind of gets you going on cleaning toilets and mopping floors. The Firehouse makes you clean them a little better, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, when you went to the Army, it didn't give you a little bit of maturity from?
Well, it did, but I was 19. I was a kid, really. I wasn't mature in any way at all. I was a little spoiled, probably growing up, and that makes you lazy when you're spoiled. Let's face it. Yeah. But it was the fire department grew me up, and most of my family thought it was a very good thing for me personally as a person.
Right. Did you have any brothers or sisters or anybody that followed?
Yeah, brother and sister both. They supported me, of course. My brother is a special needs kid, and I really take care of him in a sense. I'm his guardian, and we get along really, really well. And we talk almost every day, if not every day, even though he's up in Detroit or St. Clair Shores actually, but he's up in suburban Detroit, and I got him all set up. He's going to come down here in March. We got a place on the beach, and it's going to be cool.
Nice.
Did he ever visit at the Firehouse when you're working up there?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got pictures of my nieces or my nephews coming down to the fire station as little boys and sitting in the fire truck with the lights on. And actually, I trying to think of who the little kid was, but I had about 2 weeks left. I put him in the front seat and turned on lights and sirens, went around the block with the air horn. Totally off the cuff, should have been doing it. But this kid was just thought it was the greatest thing ever. His eyes were as big as saucers.
You know what? He'll probably never forget it either, man.
Yeah, probably not.
You know what I'm thinking, like, and this is like a reoccurring thing with our guests. Think about how that happened. Like in a 2 or 3 months there, right? You took the test, the guy throws you a hat. Yeah, maybe you should take this test to, how much time did you do? 40 years on the job. Like, it's just an incredible thing when you really, how things can change in your life, especially as a kid.
It could turn on a dime, right? How many guys did we talk to who got an application? We were sitting on a stoop in Brooklyn, and his neighbor brought him an application.
Yeah,
right?
It's not like not everybody like you had somebody in the family that they followed. So it had to be somehow, somewhere. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think it's a wonderful tradition when I see. I actually the house I was in at Squad 3, I had probably. I can't name off the top of my head right now, but we probably had 6 sons of firefighters. And so I had one guy, I was his boss. His dad was my boss. So really? He's in one of the pictures. I'll show you the picture he's in if it comes up. But there's, these guys are your mentors. And of course you're extra careful with them because the parents, they have to go home and say, we lost your son.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was my worst nightmare, really. When I became a boss, it's a different world. It's not about you anymore.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to 73. How long was the training school back then?
I want to think it was 16 weeks. And it was a good long time. And they hired so many firefighters. I was in a class of 80. So we had 40 firefighters working days and 40 firefighters coming in at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and working the afternoon shift through the academy, and then it would switch back and forth. But, that was January, and I got to tell you, it was scary. They put up those straight beam ladders, those extension ladders on those icy parapets, and things sliding around on you. Oh, my God, I'm going to fall off this thing. I haven't even got to the academy yet,
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that. The instructors were incredibly seasoned and experienced and knew exactly what they were doing. But they scared us more than once.
Yeah. So, going into the academy, you had no family on. You had no idea what to expect, right?
Honestly, God, I didn't even know it was a 24-hour shift. The guy says in the academy, one of the guys says, now, you're going to get a second job, because you're going to be spending 24 hours in the firehouse. I go, what? 24 hours? What are you talking about? Seriously, I had no idea. In the academy. But what a great schedule it was, as you guys all know. It's a good schedule.
So you guys worked straight 24s then, right? Yeah.
We worked 24, and at that time it was 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 72 off.
Right.
And that was, I don't know who Kelly was. I don't know if he was a New York
Kelly Day, right? I don't know.
We got our Kelly Day, so to speak.
Right.
And then we actually got something called a super. Every cycle, you got 5 days off in a row. It was a great schedule.
Right.
You could definitely get out of town if a couple of work reliefs, you could be gone for several weeks,
Right. And how big is that department, Cap?
When I went in there, I was the last person in the academy. I had the lowest seniority in my class. I was number 1,805. So at that time, there was 1,805 firefighters. not just in the firefighting division, of course, fire prevention, arson, community relations, research and development. But most of the guys were in the fire, most of it was the firefighter division.
Right. And like roughly how many stations were there? Because it seems like they have a lot of squads there for.
Well, I'll tell you, we at one time, and as a matter of fact, Squad 9 was activated because there were so many fires, and they had a policy that a squad had to go at every box alarm, which was a working fire. And so these 6 squads were stretched out, and then they had 7, and they had 8, and then they had 9.
Wow.
And that was the newest squad that I was assigned to. And then it was deactivated after about 2 or 3 years. And now we're down to 6 squads total in the city.
Squads. Wow. All right, before we get to the squad, though, you get assigned to Engine 52.
Yeah.
Was that a busy place, a slow place?
No, I was heartsick when I went there. I told you, I went there as a Boy Scout. It was a very quiet, middle-class neighborhood. Right. By the way, about 8 blocks from where I grew up on the east side.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I knew every street, every side street on when the runs came in. But we were in a typical box alarm. You had 3 engines, a truck, aerial, a squad, and a chief. And immediately that was Detroit's philosophy: throw a bunch of firefighters at it, knock it down, pull the guys out that you don't need, leave it with an engine, truck, and squad to clean up. The chief would pick up after that. So we were the 3rd engine, and it seemed like I no sooner got my tank on and started pulling ceiling or something, and the chief was picking up the 3rd engine, which we were always the 3rd engine. And although I had a great crew, I had these wonderful people that I worked with. I'll tell you just a quick story if you're interested about my van. So I had a Datsun 280Z, oh boy.
Nice.
Oh, I remember that car. That was
nice. Well, then my wife got pregnant, and it was time to get rid of the 2-seater and buy a van. So I went down to the Chrysler dealer. I bought a van. I came to work the next cycle and told him I bought this van. Oh, no, why'd you buy the van? You should have went to the credit union to get a better rate. And, dumb kid. And so I called the credit union, but they couldn't help me because now it was a used car, right? Because it had been financed. 2 of the guys from the engine house went down there and co-signed for me for a loan. They knew me all of about 2 months.
That's the brothers, man.
Loan for me so I could get a cheaper rate to buy this van. And then I knew right then and there what kind of people you're working with, the kind of people that care about you and become part of your extended family. Listen, I love going to work every day. They drag me out by my heels. I didn't want to go with mandatory retirement.
We say this all the time. Isn't that amazing? The love that the guys have for the job. Like,
yeah.
We said, God. The only job you ever been on where you're on vacation, like, I can't wait to get back off vacation. I can't wait to get back. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hey,
Cap. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Lua. Go ahead.
No, just before I forget, is that happen a lot in Detroit where, like in New York, especially, years ago, guys would do time in a busy place, like, real busy. And then as they got closer to the end of their career, they would go to like a slower place just to, go out to pasture, let's say. Was that happening, like, let's say in a firehouse like that where
I say no. I would say no. I would say the guys that want to run in busy companies ran right to the bitter.
Right to the end.
Those that wanted to run in slow companies went to slow companies.
Yeah, no doubt.
And they were happy there, and we were happy they were there because we didn't have to be there.
Yeah,
and that's what my kept saying. There's an ass for every seat, right?
That's what the rug used to say. My brother used to say that there's a seat for every ass, bro.
Well, my question was actually, since your first house was literally 8 blocks from where you grew up, right? Did you have a different feeling now as you're a firefighter in the neighborhood you grew up in, right? Right there, you probably passed your house a couple times, right? Like, did you have a different feeling? Did your friends see you on the rig? And was it like an exciting feeling? Like, yeah, well, I'm somebody in this neighborhood. This is different now. Like, how did that feel?
Well, I wish I could say that Detroit stayed cohesive in those neighborhoods, but we're going through something called the HUD scandal, which they were giving homes to people that didn't have jobs. And basically those HUD homes, and it goes deeper than that. So if you were able to buy a house for $11,000 and you were able to insure it for $50,000, because that's what it costs to rebuild it, it became a business. It became an arson business. I actually went to the fire 46, 43 grade where I spent my, you stretched on the attic upstairs. It wasn't an attic. It was a bungalow that my dad had fixed up for my grandmother to live in. It was like a little apartment up there, and we stretched up in that apartment.
Wait.
It's kind of freaky to go to your friends' houses when they're on fire and stuff like that. You have all these memories of sitting on the porch and
wow,
it was horrible. I really didn't like being there, especially as the fire started moving east into our district. But we were still, we didn't have many stretches, but the ones we had were arson fires, and I didn't like it. That was Tony's house or Dick's house.
Right.
That's
I
crazy.
didn't that too much, but
so
I knew
really it was not like this, like, wow, I'm like a firefighter in my neighborhood. I'm protecting it. It's more like you're seeing the nightmare of it, where the neighborhood's crumbling. You're sort of the society around you is crumbling a little bit, and now you're literally putting out fires.
Yeah.
In what used to be your little slice of America there.
It's very true. It's very true. It was very disheartening in that respect. I mean, I had a great bunch of guys to work with. And so when I got the invitation to go to Squad 9, and back in those days, a captain had drag. He could get things done. He could go to, this chief or the senior chief and say, hey, I want this guy in my company. And that's kind of how I ended up at those 2 squad companies over time. Was the captain got me there. And
how did that relationship start? How did the captain spot you? Well, he saw you jobs, or
so when I went to Squad 9, the captain there, they saw me at fires, and I got this phone call from Captain Thurston, the captain of Squad 9. He says, you answer the phone, Engine 52, Firefighter English, the department phone, and he goes, this is Captain Thurston. Yes, sir. Can I help you? He goes, how would you like to run down here at Squad 9? I says, I'd love to. He said, okay, see you next list. And I was down there. And you
only had 2 years on the job, though. I mean,
yeah, you were supposed to have 4 or 6 years to ride on a squad. They had but the rules were loose back then because the department was, always a little bit undermanned, and there was a lot of activity and stuff like that. And my buddy calling me. Now my friends are trying to irritate me by calling me, right? But anyways, a captain had a lot of drag, and he could get guys there. So when they deactivated Squad 9 and I went to Squad 6, it was a really slow squad company, and I didn't like it there either. And I got a phone call on the outside phone, and the captain of Squad 3 called me. He says, do you want to run here? I said, you bet I do, Captain. By the way, he was a junior lieutenant at Squad 9, so I had a relationship.
You knew him.
Now he's been promoted to captain of Squad 3.
Right.
That's kind of how it all started.
If the fire duty was picking up, why would they deactivate a squad?
Well, money mostly. It was always about money. It was about money. The suits never got it, okay? They never understood. They never understood the brotherhood of the department, the importance of running in one station, knowing the district, knowing every street, knowing the shortcut, knowing what houses have been burnt before, what's the structure, what's the shape of the structure, and so on and so forth. So
that would be like in the 70s, the Rand Corp in New York City, or the bunch of bean counters just closing firehouses, not knowing anything about firefighting.
That was for a good long time in Detroit. I think today I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with the equipment they have, the training. I was up there, like say 3 months ago. My cousin from Denver wanted to go to Detroit. And I thought he was kind of pulling my leg. And he says, no, I really want to go to Detroit. So we stayed at fire headquarters, which has been turned into a boutique hotel downtown.
Ooh.
And I took him over to 23, Squad 3, and took him around. And he was just amazed. Actually, I was amazed. We opened up the squad, and we got 3 or 4 different kinds of jaws now, and we had back then. This brute that it took about 4 guys to handle. Right. You had a guy underneath it with a pike pole on each side holding it up while you're trying to pop the nadir pin on the door. The thing was so heavy, it was unbelievable.
What kind did you have to go through any training? I mean, it's the early 70s. What kind of training, or was it all in-house training in the squad?
We didn't actually do well, we did something called school, which would kind of handle things that you didn't do much, like drafting, right? Drafting from a river, Detroit River, something like that. But and then maybe light water, stuff like that, or foam, because you didn't use it all that much,
right?
Know? But most of our fires were OJT, and training was OJT too, you know, on the job. Right. And we got pretty good at it. I mean, when we would have riders ride with us, we had riders from all over the world, from Japan. We had a guy from Scotland, you know, and numerous reporter type guys. And they were always amazed that, like, nobody like gives a lot of orders at these fires. You know, how come nobody's telling them what to do? Well, you know, practice makes perfect. You know, we're very good at it. We didn't need much. So.
When was when you went to Squad 3? I was assuming like where your first house was, there wasn't much vacant there, right? And then you went to an area that had more vacant, or was that just the process where it started to get more vacants? Like
well, what happened down at Engine 23 in Squad 3, it was an old Polish neighborhood. Very well kept, very, very well kept. We had several bakeries. We had a market that was open on weekends, like an open air market. And Hamtramck, which is inside the city of Detroit geographically, the southern border of that abutted next to this community that I was in. So it was really fantastic. Well, an unfortunate thing came along. General Motors wanted to build a new plant there, right there in Poletown. And the mayor gave him the keys, and some of the residents got a little restless over that and ticked off. And we started we had that area called Poletown, where it just went on day and night there, you know, after a while. And these were big barns. I'm telling you, these houses, these were 2 flats that might be, the upstairs might be 2,000 square feet.
Wow.
So these weren't little bungalows or anything. So they were all real hard, you know, but I used to call it when I wrote butt busting fires, because that's what they were, you know. That was our deal. And we went through that for years until it was all cleared out. And then the next thing came along. There was another thing right after that. They wanted to expand the city airport. So out Van Dyke Avenue, which was still close to our district, we started getting a lot of fires out there to clear out the area to expand the airport, which never happened, by the way. But it didn't stop the fires. We had little names for us: Poletown, the DMZ, which was out Van Dyke. There was a tough Arab neighborhood out at 7 Mile that they called Little Beirut. You know, and they had all these names for these places, and the firefighters all knew what they were and where they were at and what was going on there.
And if you want to read more on that, because I happened to see it in the book, A Little Beirut, there's a book that Captain English wrote, 1818, East Grand. It's a very easy
I didn't know
read.
that. I didn't even know that.
Nice.
Very easy read.
Yeah, it is a very easy read. Exceptionally easy read.
It tells you all about tales from the Detroit Fire Department. How did they staff the squads, Cap? How many guys in the squad?
I mean, all companies were staffed with 4. If you had extra manpower, a truck would get the extra 5th man. And if it really got extra, because that does happen sometimes. Nobody's on vacation, nobody's hurt. The manpower loads up a little bit. The 5th man might go on the squad, but generally we're at 4 men.
What positions did they have? How did they run the squad?
Oh, there was no real troop. I mean, you know, you had the driver, the FFD, you had the officer, and you had 2 deckies on the back end, and that's kind of it. In a squad, and one of the reasons you like being on a squad, I mean, it's one of the best assignments ever. There's nobody really on you. I mean, you go to the fire, you look up, and
you fill the gaps.
Yeah, the truck's only got 3 guys today instead of 4 guys. Get up on a roof and open that roof up, you know?
Right.
The first company has only got 3 men, which means there's only 1 guy on the pipe. You know, you got the FEO, the fire engine operator, and the boss. There's 1 man on the pipe, right? So you boom, right to the pipe, or get the second bundle and get going on that. And there was a lot of freedom in that, you know. And of course we got all the extrication, and so we got all the accidents, all the industrial accidents. So it was always something happening.
Right. Cap, who were some of the early guys in your career that you remember that stick out to you, like guys that took you under their wing, whether it was a boss or whether it was a fireman or somebody that you really tried to emulate as a young guy?
And were any of them in this photo right here?
I don't know, man. We all look pretty young there, man. I'll tell you. That would have to be somewhere around the late 70s, maybe somewhere in there.
Look at the guns on that guy in the right, bro. Look at that.
Yeah,
still had the head of hair too, right?
Oh, that's why he's got the hair. Like, let me look at that thing.
This guy will slap you silly at the bar if you're getting funny with his old lady.
Who's that? David Hasselhoff? Where is
they all got the '80s mustache? That's for shit.
Yeah, we did. We all had the. We all had
the buckle. You know.
We all I got the same buckle, man. Yeah. Which one is Plum Bob?
We'll have to. Actually, there's no picture of that, unfortunately. Of course, you can see all the good stuff, the RAM and all the good tools, and all that. That was actually at the Fireman's Field Day. Once a year, they have a field day. The Fireman Funds puts it on, and we put on an extrication demonstration there. They do a lot of that kind of stuff for the kids. And
now, is this Squad 3? Cap?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who is it? Which one's the boss? Or all firemen there?
Well, this guy right here, Andy Angelucci, the big Italian with the bald head there. He was the lieutenant. He was a sergeant and a lieutenant there, and he's passed away. The other guys, Mark Zaremba. This guy went to U of M. The guy in the back row there, the guy in the middle, he went to U of M and he became a fireman. It's like, what are you doing here? So this is Jerry Monahan, this Steve Kirshner, another great fireman and great buddy. We lost him last year to blood clot infection. And they were just an all-star team. And we actually did real well in extrication because most of the suburban departments had a lot better equipment than we did. We're out there with these, case saws trying to cut the windshield out and stuff like that.
Oh shit, the case saw.
They were good to us.
So you were telling us though, the question that Lou had asked you, 3 guys that you would have said that were your inspiration in those early days.
Okay, I want to say 2 of them are. I think one's still alive. I haven't seen a death notice on. The first guy was Clarence Raymond, Ray J. He was a great squad boss. He always seemed to know where the fire was at. And I kind of followed him around like a puppy dog because when I got to Squad 9, the other guy, Don LeBeau, the Frenchman, he was junior lieutenant at Squad 9, captain of Squad 3. Another really taught me a lot about firefighting and interior attack. And lastly, he's still around. He's a retired chief, Butch Binder, or Daryl Binder goes by Butch. He's retired, living out in Harson's Island, and he was my boss on and off many times. He was a squad guy. He started over at Engine 11 on Grash. It was a super busy company in those days, and those were my guys that really taught me, that I looked up to. I considered them my mentors, and you know what I mean. They were just.
Did you work with the same crew every time you came in, seeing that you're on straight 24s,
or? We had 3 units. So unit Kelly 1, when Kelly 1 worked, Kelly 3 was off. So you work with Kelly 2. The next unit, Kelly 2 is there. So Kelly 1 and 3 worked together. And then Kelly 1 was off. And then Kelly 2 and 3 worked together. So you worked with the same, if you had the same Kelly, you worked with the same guys. And that happened a lot. But if you had a different Kelly, you only worked one day a cycle with that particular person.
Yeah. Guys in the chat wanted me to ask you about the emu. EMU.
That was actually emu, was a white-tailed deer. It was this clown. We get this a sergeant detailed to quarters. The officer was either injured or off duty or on vacation, and he was a real rounder. We're gonna grab them. We're gonna grab the radio, and we're gonna go down to Nasty Whiskeys, and we're gonna drink beer all night and wait for the runs to come in. Right, much for the joke. And so I had a turkey that was given to me, and I was cooking it at the firehouse to take home, of course. And he came up to me and he goes, so you better check your turkey. I go, no, it's okay, Sarge. No, it don't look right. Okay.
Oh boy.
So I open a turkey up, and there's a piece of foil wrapped up in the dupa. And I take it out, and there's a mouse in there. right?
Okay.
And they kind of ruined the turkey. He didn't ruin the turkey. So,
stupid.
I had the afternoon watch, which is between 1 and 4. You can take a nap. And so I was downstairs on watch, and Andrew Angelucci, the guy I was just telling you about, Andy, he came in with his deer. He had gone deer hunting. He's going to butcher this deer at 23s because we went around and we pooched a commercial kitchen. We had a big chopping block and deep fryers, all from old closed restaurants and bacon places, So he saws the head off and he throws it in the garbage. And I need that head. so I took the head when the sergeant got up, and I put it in his bed. Turned off the lights, so I screwed the light bulb so he wouldn't be able to turn the lights on when he came to bed, right?
That's the way to do it.
So you went Godfather on him. You went old school Godfather on him.
Oh yeah, we did him.
Should have put the
he went up to bed.
Out, you know what I mean, and went to work.
He went to work.
This guy's saying no. The emu that Joe Bob brought into Engine 18.
Oh, that story. Oh my God, I almost hate to tell that story. This one
we
did
love
not
those
go well.
Stories. We love those.
He had
stories.
a pet emu, and they decided they were going to cook it.
Oh.
And so they had to kill it, of course, and they're chasing it around the firehouse.
It's like a bird, ain't it? What is
it? It's like a bird. Yeah, it's like a two-legged, it's like an ostrich.
Wait a minute. It was a pet. It was a pet, and they're gonna eat it.
Well, I don't know if it was a pet. It was on somebody's. It was on their farm, like emu, like a, like they have these they have these sheep and stuff, all this kind of designer pets, So finally, Joe Bob caught it, and he slaughtered it, and they ate it, and it was supposed to be pretty good.
It was good.
Yeah,
tastes like chicken.
I couldn't eat it.
It was like Limu the emu on that commercial.
Dude, can you imagine fireman chasing this thing around, like trying to cut his head or something like that?
Oh, it was ridiculous. I don't know what he was thinking.
I'd be like some idiot chasing pigeons or seagulls around. You know what I mean? Something like that.
The boss will always tell you, don't worry, kid. You're not going to do anything I haven't seen before.
Yeah, right. No doubt.
Right.
Well, we didn't see that one before.
Yeah. Who was the guy that told us when his first day he walked in the firehouse? The old timer said, "Welcome to the shop, bro. 2 things you'll never see is women on the job and no layoffs."
Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, he was wrong about that one.
I don't remember who that was. I can't remember who the hell that was.
Oh, that was good. Damn.
No, I actually got laid off for 2 weeks during. Again, Detroit was always, in the hole.
Yeah.
Didn't have money for really anything, apparatus or raises or anything. We did nobody complained. We liked our job. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Everybody complained. But, we loved our job and we were happy. I think most guys were happy. Of course, everybody wants to make more money. Let's face it,
Come on, guys love to hear other guys complaining. Complaining is it's a hobby in the firehouse, bro. Come on.
Captain's phone is blowing up.
Oh.
Yeah. It's my buddy Eric Fett.
Everybody call him after the show. Thank you.
Well, what do you want to hear, for Christ's sakes, Fett?
Come on, Eric. What are you doing?
That's a
that kind of shit. Okay. They want more fire stories.
All right. So let's get some fire stories.
You know what? I got a photo. You can tell us about this particular fire in this photo. What happened here?
We didn't do so good now.
Yeah, this was bizarre. So, anyways, you can't see it, but just next to it's the service drive at I-94 freeways right there. And that is Moran, the street in front of it. And if you go down 2 blocks, the fire station is on Moran and the Boulevard. So we get this, a still alarm, which means just the engine and squad went. It's fire down at Grensel School. And we get down there, and they had taken these big 4x4s and started them on fire. I don't even, how hard it is to get 4x4s to burn? And they put it over an open area on the 2nd floor. So it went up into the attic and, got things going real good. We ended up getting a little short stretched right off the bat. We couldn't quite make it to the fire. And this was the result, 5th alarm fire. I was telling you guys earlier, this was Greisel School. Walt Disney went to this school. And it was a nice school. It was vacant, of course.
It was a nice school.
It was a nice school. It's a big
was.
Is it a parking lot now or a Walmart? What is it? Is it a school?
It's nothing. It's just I don't think there's anything there. I think might be a church a little bit further east, and they use it as a parking lot or something.
Hey, just a quick interruption of you there, Captain. Sorry, but I had to let you know that Engine 52 and Ladder 31 Detroit Fire is watching from the dining room table right now.
Nice. Oh, man.
Shout out to you boys, all right, guys?
A plumb bob to those guys.
Hey! Some of the guys doing real work around America.
Edie, what's that one where he's up on the ladder there? I saw.
Yeah, this one here. This is Base.
Well, I don't know. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see the face piece I got on.
Sure can.
That is the old school.
Oh, shit.
See those glass lenses
from Mars?
Yeah. That looks like the thing Marty McFly put on when he was trying to scare.
Well, it was a great mask because it was glass, and it just folded right in half, and you could just slide it into your coat. You know, you didn't need to have a strap around your neck or anything. And I would go down to the shop, and I'd pooch the old lenses and any other parts I needed. Finally, you know, the rubber just kind of broke away, and that was the end of that. You know, but this particular fire took place down in the Cass Corridor. Back in those days, there was 2 engines, 2 trucks, 2 squads, chief on every box down there because we had a lot of
squads in every box. Holy shit!
Yeah, well, the boxes. I mean, this is a big. You can see this place. It's a small apartment building, and that's what kind of went on down there until it gentrified, and it did gentrify. Believe it or not, it's a beautiful area right now. It's all yuppies and Wayne State's down there. It looks real good.
Yuppies are killing us.
Yeah, I don't think we're having yuppies anymore.
Goddamn yuppies.
What I thought were yuppies.
Yeah. What do you think was the busiest time that you had there, Cap?
Oh, I got to say the late 70s were just between Pole Town, out there, Van Dyke, the Whipple brothers. We had some arsonists that were, enjoying touching things off. I think that was probably my busiest time is 70s. Up through the late 80s was probably the worst of it all.
How many jobs would you go to on average?
The brothers are a brothers arsonist team?
Yeah, they were brothers. They were arsonists. They actually went to prison eventually. Hard to catch them. They did catch them.
Don't squeeze
yeah,
the
that's true.
What was their deal? Like, how did they like to burn?
I think they got a little sexual pleasure out of it, to tell you the truth. Yeah, they were a little freaky. And there's guys like that. You know, there's guys like that out there, right? They get a little sexual charge.
Petey does it with his guns.
Yeah.
He rubs oil on his guns.
He rubs oil on his guns.
When I see that rumpus stock oiled up,
man.
When he sees that 19th slide,
on the floor on the 17 frame.
Look at the cap. He's like this.
Guns are the best. What about this?
This is the one. That's the one.
Well, you know, it's just again, that's Pole Town. They get those places going every night, and we just go in there and put them out. What can I say? Is
that the line?
We had it down pretty good. You can see there's no the hose isn't charged yet. That's the FFD of the rig, and he's pulling up the limp hose, and we're kind of waiting for water there to get in there. But that's what that was.
Nice. Let's say on a good night, how many jobs would you go to in the squad in the late 70s?
I'm going to tell you some numbers you're not going to believe.
I will.
We had our company, the busiest year we ever had, was 1,006 hours of fire service. But that did not include extrications, accidents or specials, rigs overturned, stuff like that. It was only fires. And I want to say we did about 2,400. The company did about 2,400 runs that year. That was probably the busiest year that I remember.
And say that again. What was the fire?
1,006 hours of firefighting.
That's 42 straight days of fire if you were nonstop 24 hours a day.
And there were days we didn't have fires, like Christmas, when everybody's home, But it made up on other days. I was detailed to Engine 21 once, company on the west side, pretty busy company. And we had 21 runs. We had 21 fires. Wow. But I mean, there were dumpsters and cars and dwellings and apartment buildings, and we
were most of the fires kept? Were they vacant at that time?
Yes, there was a lot of arson.
Even then, they were all vacant.
99% arson. I don't know whoever thought it was fun to start fires, but boy, it just caught on in Detroit like in a big way.
Was it the same shtick, like insurance and all that, or was it more, was it like that same motivation that the guys in the 70s, like a lot of landlords had over here, where they could cash out if they burned the place?
We used to have a saying: he lost everything but his insurance papers.
Right.
You had those in a fireproof box.
Wait, and I got to ask you, did you ever roll up on the? Did you ever roll up?
Awesome.
On location, did you ever roll up and you have like residents from the building packed out with their suitcases and stuff like that, like we did here in the 70s?
No, but I'll tell you, there was a lot of people ended up homeless, and God bless the Red Cross. They were there to help people, and I'll tell you what, they helped us too. They were at all the multiple alarms, making sure we had coffee and those something to eat in the middle of the night. They'd send their trucks out. Nice. Salvation Army, good organization in Detroit.
Yeah. Up there, Peter, was the goddamn Whipple brothers.
The Whipple brothers. You're gonna have to go a long way. You're gonna have a hard time.
He was a regular Gasoline Gomez, that guy.
I know we probably asked Chief Dombrowski this, but I forget. When did the Devil's Night thing start?
Yes.
Picking up?
I was going to ask that.
I
forget. I know he told us, but I forget.
I want to say, I'm just going to take a stab at 77 is when it really started cranking.
Was that early?
And it rolled through the late 80s until finally the city rolled every vehicle that they owned, including the DPW, the garbage guys, riding up and down the alleys with water cans, and they rolled everybody. They got 20,000 volunteers on every corner, and it kind of shut it down. And I don't know, it became that it wasn't the holiday that it was. Seriously, we'd have people from all over the country come and take photos. It was just we'd pull up on a fire. There's 50 people there taking pictures.
Wow.
So it was a horrendous, butt kicking experience. And again, I don't remember. When we complained is when they went to these command posts and they made all these companies, at one big fire station. Said nothing to do. You're all bunched up there, and they would designate which companies would go to which fires. And the last few years, it got. I'm not even sure they do a command post anymore during Devil's Night. They got it under control, and they found out, hey, why worry about Devil's Night when there's all these people out watching us? We'll just wait for 5 days after or 2 weeks after and do what we want to do.
And now the city's coming back too, so that helps with that too, right?
Do you have any like? Were there any big nights, Devil's Nights, that you worked particularly that you could remember?
Oh yeah, I remember one Devil's Night before it even started. We had a rider, he was a volunteer he was a porky guy. And we took off down Moran, and there's a four-way stop. He locked up the brakes, and this guy dislocated my shoulder at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That was the end of my Devil's Night tour.
Holy crap!
He rolled right on you.
Yeah, he was a big boy. Boy.
How about some like real big fires on Devil's Night? Did you or was it more like, we got something here, we got something there, we got something here? Was it just like that? Was it the one big fire, or was it a whole lot of fires?
No, we would be at one fire, and you could see a fire on the next block starting to take off. And so you just kind of went to fire to fire to fire. And there was no such thing back then. I don't know if you guys in New York do it called rehab. We did not rehab. You did not go back to the station for 20 minutes, take your gear off, and put on dry clothes, and go out of service. Really, never did any of that. What we did was we would go down to the shop and dig through the dumpster and dig out the old gear, and so we had dry gear in the basement or somewhere. So when our gear was wet, we just try that down and put on new stuff and go back out again.
What do you think?
There's no rehab, and although rehab's pretty darn important, let's face it. It just was unknown at that time. Just like incident command was unknown at that time.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think was the craziest like thing you saw during a Devil's Night? Because I know everyone's really into this Devil's Night, you know, on especially in the chat. They've been asking since the whole show started tonight. I mean, can you recall something really crazy that you saw, like some weird thing?
All right, here I'll tell you one. I thought this was pretty bizarre.
All right.
Our box came in. It was way the hell out. It was so far from our fire station, I couldn't believe we were going. And it was for the squad. So it was kind of, well, you know, you got to fill in when another squad's in another fire. So you might go into different districts like that. So we're rolling. And we pull into this neighborhood. It was I'm quite sure it was Grand River. And two dwellings are going side by side. I mean, it's just coming right out the top of the roof. And we pull up with a squad. We don't have any water, right? Oh, boy. Residents are going nuts, man. You got to put that fire out, man. We don't have any water. You know, we're waiting for the next company shows up, a truck. And I don't know if you ever seen these truck guns. They're really pretty useless. They're not a real, you know, they're kind of for like trash or something. You know, they're not really. And here he's got this little, 1-inch stream coming out on this place that's rolling, To make a long story short, we lost all three of them by the time
we didn't do good there.
They fell into each other, and that was that. Ended up putting up the tower and surrounding, drowning the unit until it was done.
Yikes! All right,
we didn't do good there.
So
you had to remind the guy that he lost 3 buildings there. You feel better?
No, that wasn't what I was after. But these animals in the chat, they won't leave this Devil's Night alone.
I'm only kidding.
And then here's another good one though from actually a Detroit guy in the chat. I believe he's asking, what about the backdoor bomber in the 90s?
Backdoor bomber. I have heard of him. I don't believe he was an East Sider, so I can't really. I really can't describe him. He was, again, an arsonist.
Petey's a backdoor bomber.
Oh, you fucking beat me to it, bro, you son of a bitch.
This is what it sounds like.
I heard of that. We had all these guys. You had these different bunch of guys that were out there starting these fires,
Yeah. I was going to say that was Pete's nickname in high school, the backdoor bomber.
Don't leave your old lady around me or this would happen.
I mean, as soon as I saw that question in the chat, I'm like, I hope
I was waiting for the captain to take a pause. I was like, oh, Pete.
Wait, so from the last time, though, there was a lot of shenanigans going on, not just backdoor shenanigans, but there was some other shenanigans in Detroit. Wasn't there? If I remember from Chief Dombrowski, and I could be mixing up shows, weren't there like squatter groups that took over blocks and lit stuff on fire and stuff like that? Like political groups?
They did light things on squatters did light things on fire, but it wasn't intentional. They were trying to stay warm. So, we would always get a lot of especially from our families, hey, what are you going in there? There's nobody in there. You're risking your life. No, there are people in there. There are squatters in there. And you just can't dump a bunch of water on something and you got somebody inside there, it gets burned up because we didn't take the time to make sure it wasn't occupied. It wasn't occupied by the owner, but it was occupied by somebody,
Right.
So we always did a search, whenever we could, unless it was going throughout.
How did the squads get along with the regular companies, the engines and the trucks? Was there?
They call us the prima donnas. The prima donnas, the squad prima donnas. Although the guy who gave us that actually ran a squad down at one point, but they were. It was kind of funny. This one particular driver that came over, he came over to drive the squad, and we got a fire and. The fire we were picking up, and so it was supposed to be engine, truck, and squad, to pick up the line and the rest and do the mop up and the overhaul. And he goes, "Well, man, what is this? We should be picked up. We're important, And I'm saying, well, I don't know about the squad you came from, but we pick up line in this company, and nobody goes home till everybody goes home.
Oh, I like that.
There was a little different philosophy. Maybe the boss of a squad thought they were, above picking up line and let's just pick up, But mostly, I got along with everybody. There was very few people I disliked. If you were a firefighter, I could overlook a lot of nonsense or problems that you may have in your personal life or otherwise. I'm going to go to bat for you too if I can.
Right.
But you got to be a fireman. I mean, we're only there for one reason: fight fires. And if you're not doing that, kind of useless.
I told the chief. Well, let's talk about this picture first, then I'll come back to my story.
Yeah, this was the old gear. If you take a look at that gear, I do have that is a plastic covered Nomex coat.
Wow.
You see the whole, that's the pocket for the mask.
Right.
These are our gloves. Check these gloves out. These are Red Ball plastic gloves. They're rubber and inside they're cotton. This is what they issued you to fight fires with.
Jeez. Oh yeah.
And this is my bunker pants. We just got bunker. Oh, scratch that. I bought bunker pants. That was before bunker pants. I bought my own gear.
What year is this, Cap?
Oh, well, the Joint Health Safety Committee was awarded activation in 1986. So this was prior to 86 because I'm wearing my own gear and I'm wearing my own helmet.
They're saying that the Red Ball gloves were $5.
Yeah, well, we'd go out and buy. What would happen was one of the guys in the company go out and buy a case of them and sell them.
Oh, awesome.
To everybody in the quarters, so everybody had them. And then I found out, and I'm sure other people did, that the Salvation Army would give you these cotton gloves. And you put these cotton gloves inside these rubber gloves. Boy, they were awesome. You could pick up a mattress on fire, and not burn your hands. It wouldn't burn through all of it, And
wow.
Even when you were in a winter, when you're soaking wet, you were warm because it captured the heat in your hands, You weren't really cold with those with that cotton liner in there,
Huh.
Hey, Cap, my old lieutenant in the chat said, I overlooked a lot if you were a firefighter too, even if you were Italian.
Well, I got to tell you something. I didn't know this. I wanted to go to the Squad 3 in the worst way because they were so busy. And then I found out that it was Angelucci there and Pizzoli and Narducci and all these Italians.
God bless.
And I'm going, what the hell? They said, well, the only way they can, if you want to go to that squad, you either got to have name's got to end in a vowel, or you got to have a big nose.
So he changed his name to English Shoney. English Shoney. Hey,
they let me
Shoney.
stay. I don't know if they were crazy about me, but they let me stay. And eventually, I think I got along with all of them pretty darn well. Most of them made chief and moved on,
Sundays you had the spaghettis and the meatballs and maybe the chicken parm on Sundays, right?
Sauce of gravy. I'm curious.
That was Squad 3 by themselves, or they were with another unit?
No, they were with Engine 23. They were a joint house. And that's 18 grand is really Engine 23's quarters. Squad 3 originally.
Right here, right?
Yeah. Well, somewhere along the line, Squad 3 was at Engine 41, where I went as a junior lieutenant. And the department was always like reshuffling, moving companies around. It was really a pain because you had to learn the district. I mean, to go to point A from point B from one place is a no-brainer. But you move it around 10 blocks at 3 o'clock in the morning, and a place is on fire and you're in a hurry to get there. You're kind of thinking, what's the best way to get there now? You never had that and that was one of the best parts of running the same house all the time. You knew all the streets, all the side streets, and you could get there quickly.
Let me ask you a question about this picture. I don't know if you can see this, Pete. Can you see this?
A little higher and down.
That's Engine 23's quarters.
Okay. It looks like steel roll down gates as fire doors.
Yes. Oh my God. There's a whole story behind that. I'll tell you, it pissed us off. We had the old doors. There was a big wheel. The door would open up like this, And of course, and I hate to say this, but the chiefs, the Association of Chiefs, they get it over to the NFPA. And everybody wants a bigger one than the other one, right? I got a bigger dick than you,
Yeah.
And so the rigs just kept getting bigger and bigger, and pretty soon they couldn't fit in the doors anymore.
Holy shit.
And so they took the doors off and put the roll-up door, which, when the door is open, there's, it's still kind of sticking in the door a little bit, the frame of it. So they put we were heartsick. That was one. The other one was they took the poles out. That really pissed us off.
Took the poles out.
They took the damn poles out. Unbelievable.
What the hell?
Not cool.
So, who came out? It wasn't NFPA. It was OSHA came out and said, people can fall through these pole holes when they're open.
No kidding.
Really? People can. How many people have fallen through them? None, but they could. You know?
One in 100 years. You know what I
So
mean?
they wanted a toe molding around the hole and a damn barrier, chest high, barrier, not chest high, but say, gut high, so you couldn't fall in the damn hole. And we built our own. We didn't even wait for the city to do it. We built our own. But the commissioner in his wisdom said, just pull them all out. Let them use the stairs. And that was the end of all the poles in the Detroit Fire Department. It was
dick.
Yeah, well, the commissioner ran a beauty supply company.
Oh, there
so he wasn't actually attuned to firefighting.
I got to tell you this, Cap, before I forget, because when we had the chief on, I remember seeing this video, and I think it was like a 2-story brick. It was somebody took the video from across the street, kind of up high, and the engine pulls up. It's Detroit back in the day, whatever it was. 2 guys get out, right? This guy's looks like his gear's burnt off him, right? He stretches the line real calm, right? It's about 80 feet deep, this building. There's fire coming out of 10 windows in a row from front to rear on the side. You could see it from the side of the house, right? Like from where this video is. The guy proceeds to force the door, pops the door, and now fire's coming out the door. You see the line charge? The guy goes like this. I told this story. Next thing you know, he go by himself. There's nobody with him. He goes in, and now you see steam come out the first window. Steam come out the second window. That son of a bitch went the whole way.
He went 8 rooms deep, bro.
He went all the way back. By that time, some other guys had come in and got in on the line. Yeah. But he started by himself, and the guy had it on video. And I remember saying to myself, holy shit, man, that guy, that's the real deal.
Lou, that was a typical 3-day ride, 3-person ride. You have the FEO, the boss, and the decky. And he's by himself when he stretches, unless he waits for the arriving company. And who does? You're not going to sit there.
Yeah, you're not going to wait.
We're not going to sit there and wait for the next company to show up before we, attack this fire. So, I love to tell the story about my this trial minute. I don't know if you want me to tell it. I'll tell it.
Yes, absolutely.
I had this trial minute Engine 46 when I was.
What is a trial minute?
A probie.
Okay.
And so he comes into the firehouse, and I sit him down. He looks like Gary Coleman. I mean, really looks like Gary Coleman.
What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis?
Different strokes, right? He's not a big guy. And he's he was a former Jehovah's Witness, and he was working out working as a baggage guy at some fancy hotel out in the burbs. And so he comes in, and you give him that first talk. Hey, we get this is what I expect, time, and I don't want no fucking this, I don't want fucking that. And so I get all done, tell him all that. He goes, okay, Lieutenant, but do I got to use that language like you're using? I said, you don't have to. So honest to God, so the cook, we always let the cook go out and go shopping, right? So the cook goes out and goes shopping. So now it's just a 3-man ride. 8:02, the alert goes off. We go around the corner. This bungalow is just black smoke just rolling off of it. The wind's carrying it, and we pull up in front. It just engulfs the rig in smoke. He gets off. He goes, what are we going to do? I says, well, we're going to take that hose and we're going to go inside that building right there. His eyes got as big as us. He goes, really? And I go, yeah.
What you talking about, Frank?
Yeah. So he had like 3 stretches that day in 24 hours. Oh, wow. He comes back the next day and he goes, hey, Lou, he says, I'm kind of talking to my wife and she thinks maybe this job ain't for me. It's dangerous. I says, well, what's your wife's name? Says Luella. I said, yeah, have Luella come down. I'm going to explain all the money she's going to get when you get killed.
Oh, my God.
He goes, what are you talking about? He said,
there you go. What are you talking about, Willie?
Oh, he turned it. He was a good little fireman. They called him Fireball. He had a little nickname, Fireball. And he was, and I tell you, I would see him. Okay, I went back to Squad 3 as a senior, Engine 23 as a senior lieutenant. And so we overlapped him, and I would see him out there stretching, and I'm thinking, there's my boy, man.
Yeah.
He was a good man. He learned well. He was a credit. But eventually he gave it up, went back to become a Jehovah's Witness, moved to New York and like that, But good man.
Cool story.
I don't even know where we are. We lost here.
I know. I kind of.
No, I love it. What is this? You got promoted, but worked an 8-hour day for the Detroit Firefighters Association. So you went back to the union.
Yeah, I was a battalion director for 6 years. Basically, you still work your shift, and you're responsible for the companies in your battalion. And for some stupid reason, I do mean for some stupid reason, everybody wants to aspire to be better than what they are. I decided I was going to run for the executive board, and I won. And so we worked an 8-hour day, but I always said that I wanted to go back to the firehouse. I said, I love firefighting. I think that's one of the problems with, administration of the union. They're working downtown. They're kind of detached from the division now, and we got into a big beef after I got elected. You're not going back. They took my gear. And so I was like bummed out. But, I did my job, and the safety committee was a big part of my life in the union. And so, as I don't know if I told you, but that safety committee changed every piece of equipment we had, from our helmets, our flashlights. We made changes to the SCBAs. We got better gear. We got better boots. And every single thing was tested in the field and evaluated from the busiest companies in the city. And whether it was gloves or whatever, we wrote evaluations. So, we got exactly what we wanted. We had good gear for, I don't know. Finally, I think they switched it out. I mean, they might have even used the same gear. They wanted to go back to black gear. The president of the union just was all about that. He super traditionalist. And so eventually, I think they went. I don't know if they changed the spec of the gear, but they definitely. And a guy named Rich Duffy by any chance? He's a boss in the. If I got the right guy, he's a boss in the firefighter officers union, and I interacted him with quite a bit because you guys ended up going with tails. You went with what gear did you go with? Globe or
I think I have Globe now.
Globe or Carnes, but you guys have the tail in the back, right? It goes around,
The flap,
covers your ass, kind of.
Yes.
And I was sending him all the data.
Morning Pride first. It was Morning
Pride. You're right. It was Morning Pride. That's exactly what it was. And and I would send all this stuff to him, and he was very, he called me and, hey, really, thanks a lot for helping us out. I don't know what you did. You didn't get the same gear we did, but we shared information, which I think was kind of important. Get too serious here. Let's have some fun.
So yeah, let's get back to fires.
Let's talk about this guy who's steaming over here.
Look at this guy who's steaming.
This is me saying, "Oh shit."
Oh shit is right.
Are you going in the water? Where are you going with that thing over there?
Oh yeah, that was a winner. As you can see, the steam coming up. Look at this little flashlight right here. This is my favorite little light. This was called a Pelican Dive Master, and it's a dive light. And we had lights that were so crappy, our flashlights would break after, wouldn't work. They get, water intrusion, and they weren't intrinsic. I mean, if you flipped it on a gas,
you'll blow
gas thing, the whole place would blow up.
Yeah.
So I went out and I saw this because I was a diver, and I saw this light, and I go, "Wow, this is really a cool light." I carried that light until eventually we tested lights, and we got better lights for the guys to carry for the personal gear. But I love that light. It was great.
Now, a couple of pics that you showed, the rigs are yellow. Did you guys have a lot of yellow rigs?
Oh yeah, we went through the yellow phase for a minute. Again, the hairdresser, he thought that was cute to go with yellow. So we had yellow rigs for a while, and eventually we got a real chief of department who eventually became the commissioner, Harold Watkins, and we went back to red. And he was more of a traditionalist, thank goodness. And
right, he wasn't a hairdresser. No hairdressing for him.
He wasn't a hairdresser. He owned a beauty supply business.
Petey, go back to that picture for a second. So, Cap, that on the left side of the picture, by your right, that pouch, there's a zipper there. That used to keep the face piece in there.
That's what it was for. Yeah.
Is that right? That's the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
I heard you say it before, but I didn't see the picture actually.
Yeah.
Was it good? Was it worth,
I never used it.
Never, right?
Nobody ever used it. Most everybody just stuck it between their buckles of their jackets.
Right.
Fire turnout gear, just shoved it in there, It was easier to get out. Can you imagine? You got your gloves on, you're trying to unzip
No.
this.
Hell no.
Get a zipper open or something. Forget that shit.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever use cheaters? Further down the road when they went to. You guys have cheaters then, or the
cheaters? What's that mean?
Like a little silver without the face piece.
Without the like a bite bar, or I mean, they were illegal. They were against regs, but a lot of guys would carry allegedly, supposedly, possibly.
No.
I'm unfamiliar with that. No, I know back when I first came on, we had these old smoke masks, and some of the guys would carry those. It was really for truck guys, and they would, use them for SCBAs, but they're only filters. They really don't. They can only provide so much filtration as opposed to compressed air.
I know they ask you too, not to go back too far, but when you first got on to Engine 52, you guys riding the back step?
Yes, we were.
Look at the smile on his face.
That was bizarre.
Smile on his face.
Now, that was bizarre. I'm going to tell you something. Well, first of all, when I went to 52s, they had a brand new Mack pumper, and a number of pumpers were bought after the civil disturbance of 67, aka the riots. And so we got these bunch of these Macks, but they would break down and go, and we'd get this X-rig. We'd get this old Seagraves with a step on the back, and I don't know if you remember them, and they had two beds, and you had kind of an aisleway that you could walk between. And so we would stand on the back end, but on top of that, your harness is hanging from the spotlight, right? So before they did institute a rule that you had to have all this stuff on before the rig moved. But back then, the FEO is getting to that fire. That's his box, and he's going to be there first, and nobody's going to beat him.
So you're getting dressed on the back.
So you're getting dressed. You get your coat on, your hip boots on, and you're trying to put this harness on while you're hanging on by one hand, And it got a little dicey when you made a turn, right? Because you'd start sliding off the rig. More than once that happened to me. You'd take a sharp corner and damn near fall off that rig, But it's kind of like sailing, one hand for the boat, one hand for yourself,
That's incredible.
But that was interesting. I didn't care for it. I'll be honest with you. First of all, the damn thing bounced so much. You're bouncing right off the step when you hit a bad bump.
When did they phase that out in Detroit?
Well, they phased them out. They still had a number of them in '73, but they were phasing them out with Max and the bigger squared out pumpers. These were more the Seagraves were kind of more of a streamlined pumper. You know what I mean? And I wish I had a couple of my old friend FEOs because they'd be able to tell you all about it, but I wasn't into driving that much, so I didn't really learn that much about pumping and stuff like that.
Oh, all right. So you transfer after you go to the Union in '96. You transfer to Engine 18. So what was the whole motivation behind that? Was 18 a busy place? Or?
Well, actually, when I left the Union, I went to Squad 2. And I had an opportunity. I would have rather gone back to Squad.
Oh, you do? Sorry, it did say.
But the department had 6 extra sergeants in the city, and they had a little flexibility if they wanted to, put a. They generally didn't have sergeants on squads.
Well, now what is a sergeant?
That's the first promotion. If you look in the book, in the old manual, it'll tell you that you're an officer in training, but most sergeants are considered officers. And that's the first step of being promoted. And then it's junior lieutenant, senior lieutenant, then captain.
Okay. So you're a sergeant, and why didn't you stay at Squad 2? What happened?
Well, I didn't have any place to go, and I wanted to go to a squad, and that was the only place I could go. So I went down there. That was downtown. It was a very slow squad company because it had been moved 3 or 4 times. And so, I had a radio and I could hear the runs at night, and I'd get very frustrated when I hear a box alarm half a mile up Woodward Avenue and Squad 3's down there, or Squad 4's down there, and the engine's not even going, and I was in the Union for a long time, so I knew all the people that worked for central office, and I called the chief up and I go, "Hey, what's the deal, chief? How come we're not going to this fire?" He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, Frank." He goes, "We don't even know what your district is. You've been moved so many times. We're just kind of guessing with you guys."
Oh, shit.
So I did 2 years there, and honest to God, probably in those 2 years, I had no more than 10 decent apartment building fires. And Engine 18, which was the 3rd Battalion down the street from Engine 23 and Squad 3, had a sergeant opening, and I slid back into the 3rd Battalion and stayed there till I made junior lieutenant.
Now, it looks like you're a little partial to Squad 3, but what would you say is the busiest squad? Was it 3?
Now, 3 and 4 were pretty darn busy.
Yeah.
And we always kind of competed. They were on West Grand Boulevard. We were on East Grand Boulevard. And we kind of screwed with them, called them the A team. And we were the B team, But we were not quite as, they were a little more buttoned up than we were. I'd have to say that, aside from that, that was it. And there was at one point that the busiest battalion, the busiest companies in the city were Engine 23, Engine 36, Engine 46, Ladder 16, Squad 3, Chief 3, which was all in the 3rd Battalion. So we were the busiest battalion a number of years, because of Pole Town and a number of arsonists, adventures that went on in different parts of our district,
Are they still the busiest now, Cap?
No, they're very slow. I hate to say that. I know.
Really?
A matter of fact, one of my buddy's sons is a lieutenant over there. There's just nothing left fire-wise. It's all been burned out and tore down. Mostly it's medical runs for him now. And that great house, so the engine's been deactivated. Engine 23 has been deactivated.
23 is not there anymore, so they're there by themselves.
There. They had an EMS there for a short time. They're gone now. But it's kind of hard to imagine that station not being so busy. And, stuff was always going on there. It was chaotic, but it was good chaotic.
Yeah. So where is the work now in Detroit around?
Well, I told you I went to Squad 6 over on Houston and Whittier there, and it was a very slow squad, and I tried to get out of there, and I did get back to Squad 3. They became one of the busiest squads, busiest engine houses, because the deterioration went out Gratiot Avenue and just ran right into them, just like it did to a lot of companies, And they became, I think Firehouse magazine made them the busiest fire company in the country, or firehouse in the country one year. I'm pretty sure of that because I saw
Squad 6, and who are they in with?
Squad 6, Engine 50, and Ladder 23. And Chief 9 was there too. The Chief.
So the city was bulldozing all those vacants, like they were cleaning house. Is that what happened?
Back then, they weren't bulldozing them, and that was the unfortunate thing. We were going back to reburns, that were being burned over and over again. The present mayor, who I have a great deal of respect for, has really tried to get these buildings torn down, and it costs a lot of money to tear buildings down. As you guys know,
I got you. Well, listen, you got to start.
They've done a pretty good job, and as a result, the fire load's gone down. Now, I'm pretty sure the 8th Battalion, which runs out on the north side of the city, is still pretty darn busy. But I don't think too many other battalions are running around like that anymore.
At the bottom, like you said, what did you say the population was? 2 or 3 million, or what was it back?
It was about 2 million in 1950. It's probably about 750,000 now, somewhere in there.
At the lowest, what was it? Was it?
That is the lowest.
Oh, okay.
That is the lowest. They haven't really ticked up from going down. I know they have ticked up because people have moved in, but officially, I don't think there's been a count to say that now there's 800,000 people living.
Right. Wow, that's crazy, man. From 2 million to 800,000.
Here's an interesting photo right here. Who's this with you?
Oh yeah, that's Walter. That's my brother right there. My book is dedicated to him, and he was the heart and soul of Engine 23. He was just incredible man. We lost him in a building collapse, and the year after I retired.
Really?
Very sad. Very sad. I think of him most every day.
I think you have a chapter in here on him, right? You have. I'm trying to find it here.
Yeah, we got chapters.
Walter Harris. Yeah, right here. Walter Harris drawing right here.
How long did you know him, Cap? Long time?
Well, I met him when he actually went to the same high school that I went to, which that didn't mean anything. The senior lieutenant at our quarters was the coach at De La Salle's football team, and he knew Walter, and Walter decided to become a fireman. He got him assigned to Engine 23. And it was so cool. He came in, he's all buttoned up with a shaved haircut, and he goes up to the lieutenant. He goes, salutes. He goes, Good morning, Coach. I mean, Lieutenant. And he was a squared away dude, and everybody loved him.
How much time did he have?
He was in the engine. I'm sorry.
He was on the engine, but he rode the squad a lot. I think we had one guy was on the pension board, one guy was injured. So the engine guys rode the squad a lot. He rode it a lot. I got another guy named Herbie Mulford ran on it a lot, and so we ran together a lot. And he was a damn good fireman, of course. It goes without saying. And that fire right there, I can't even tell you exactly what's going on. As you can tell, something fell on my head and damn near took my head off. Someone's done on my nose.
Oh.
That happens pretty regular.
That's
but
great.
Walt was a good man.
So you wind up going from engine 18. You get promoted to junior lieutenant, I guess, from Sarge, right?
Right.
And you go to engine 41. Was that a busy place, or was that?
Well, it can be. It's in a fairly modest African American neighborhood. Most of the people are homeowners. There's not a lot of renters in there, but they do actually have fires, accidental fires. Type of stuff that you might see where combustibles piled up next to the furnace or some that kind of stuff, or careless cooks where they get something going in the kitchen or something. But I like that neighborhood because the folks knew the fire guys, and we got along good with our neighbors, and that's kind of important. If you can do it, a lot of times they don't like you, they just don't care for you, and others are quite nice to you. We had a nice tradition at 23s where we would go to the church. We go over to St. Hyacinth's and ask the pastor for, we need 8 names, right? We want 8 black names. We want 8 white names. And we would fill laundry baskets up with food, and we'd take them over there during Christmas time. It probably did us more good than it did them. And Engine 18, they were all about the Capuchin monastery down the street from them, and they did the cash thing with them. Everybody had their little Christmas things. So that's the kind of stuff. I always thought we should try to get along better with our neighbors. And it's hard to do when they're economically depressed and they're not happy people anyway. It's just a difficult thing to do. And one of the best things that ever happened, and the fire guys won't like it, but we started putting up smoke alarms in people's houses. And people actually got to see firemen's faces, not with a helmet on and a face piece and, yelling and carrying on, doing their job. But, wow, this guy's just a human being,
Right.
Talk to the kids a little bit. I think we did some good with it, although it's kind of a pain to go out there and hang those up between fires,
Yeah, they're not coming to my house, breaking my windows, pulling my ceilings, and flooding it out with water.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh man. So here we go. We get back to Squad 3 again. Come back in '97.
Yeah.
So was it? How many guys were there? Now you're a boss there. How many guys were there when you worked there as a fireman? Anybody left?
That's always weird.
Not too many. Not too many. Because remember, guys get promoted and they rotate out, and it's like a pyramid. Down at the bottom, there's a whole bunch of firefighter spots, and then there's only so many sergeants, lieutenant, junior lieutenants, senior lieutenants, and one captain for every house. Everybody can't come back to the house that they grew up in, So I was very fortunate. I would call around and say, "Are you going to put in for the company? Because I'd like to put into it." And they were senior to me; they could take me out if they wanted. But most guys that were senior to me knew that was the house I loved, and it wasn't that important to them,
So you got it. How was the fire load there when you came back? How many years later?
We were very busy. As a matter of fact, that's when I came back that's when I started running with Walter and some of the guys in the quarters. And they were incredible firemen. And they were a little shaky of me because, I wasn't what you call strict, but I expected certain things from the guys in the company. I wasn't too much into liking the tipping going on. That was a no-no in my mind, And I'm not going to say we didn't have a cold one at 3:00 in the morning after stretching on 2 or 3 fires, but we had a cold one. You know what I mean?
Right.
So at first they thought I was going to be kind of a dick, I think. And, but hey, guess what? I was there before any of those guys were there. So
yeah, hell yeah.
Right.
But we all got along great. And I honestly can tell you this. I worked on these great crews. I told you the Italians and the Noses and all that, and they were great firemen. These guys, I put them up against any of those guys. They were hardworking, knowledgeable firemen, and it was a pleasure to be their boss. Really, it was.
Right.
I mean, I had to pull them out of 1 or 2 fires because they just don't get it. You know, I had this one guy. He was a great charger and a great fireman. I think he's going to be a chief, or if he's not a chief now. And his place is coming down. He's telling me we can get it. And I says, hey, you're getting out because I'm not going home. His father was my boss. As I'm not going home and telling him I lost this kid in this piece of crap building here, you know, on the southwest side, you know, wherever we were at. And so that's the whole thing. When you're a boss, it's a different world. It's not about you anymore. It's about keeping your guys safe.
I'm sure he's doing that now, Cap. Right now, he's going to be doing the same thing. Telling some kid, get the hell out of there. We're not losing it. It takes a little time to get there.
We're doing exactly that.
Yeah. Some guy will be saying to him, 3 more minutes. We can get it. We can get it.
3 more.
Get out.
Get your ass out of there. I'm not going to my father's house.
Yeah, I got it. Right. Yeah. You know, you touched on it a little bit. I wanted to talk about it a little bit. Like when you first got there in the early 70s, was it more out in the open, the tipping? Was it like,
yeah, it was wide open. It was wide open at one time because nobody did nothing. Think about it. You know, when I came on the job, there was like these little areas, like I was telling you, Gas Corridor might have been busy, or Gratiot, you know, Engine 11, where my mentor ran the binder, but nothing was going on. And when all hell broke loose after the riots and they started burning places, the bosses were kind of taken aback by it all. And, you know, mostly it was, you know, you went to work for 24 hours, you cooked a couple of meals, took a nap, got up next morning, you went home. That changed forever after the riot. There was none of that going.
Somebody wrote, "Quiet, Frank, loose lips sink ships." This is all allegedly. It could have happened.
It's all allegedly.
Possibly. Yeah.
But you know, it was a different era. That's all I can say. And as we evolved, and you know, you realize that you're going to get fired for this stuff. You know.
Hell yeah.
So it all went very quiet, very quiet.
Right.
I agree. Same with us. That was
now you go from junior lieutenant to senior lieutenant. Now, when you get promoted from junior to senior, you have to leave where you're at. So you left squad 3.
Oh yeah.
There he goes. He's on the road again.
Back on the road.
And you wound up in engine 46.
46. Cool camp. Very cool camp. Busy camp. Cool, a good fireman. Single engine house. Neat as a pin. A couple of good rounders running there. All good firemen, though. And I didn't know. I only knew the FEO. I didn't really know anybody else there. Again, I spent that 4 years downtown, and pretty soon it doesn't take long for people to forget who you are. You know, he's just not there anymore. You know.
Right.
And we had a good run there. They're darn good firemen there. That's where Fireball was. My trialman was at 46, and we had a good run there. I liked it. I hated to leave because I had such a good crew and we got along so good and the fires were good, but I wanted back at that squad. You know, it was just something that was always in my gut. You know, that was my house and I wanted to stay there. And every chance I got, I went back.
So there he goes, back to engine 23. He's trying. You know what he's trying to do there, Roofy? Backdoor. Trying to backdoor squad 3 again.
Right. I couldn't get the squad 3 spot, so I had to take the engine spot.
Oh, look at that! That's a nice picture.
Yeah, that's the 100th anniversary of engine 23.
You guys notice something special about this photo?
Yeah, they all got mullets.
No. Oh. Right here, this fucking guy.
I'm getting
Look at him.
He's got and the guy behind him.
Yeah, buckets.
Who are they bucketing?
Everybody on that side of that rig right there. They got all these guys right here.
They're
not with the chief.
So which guy is the squad?
There's no chief in there, fortunately. No, there's just the decky guys. And this guy on the roof here, this is Binder. He was a very good guy. He's the guy I was talking about. I worked for his dad. And he's a hell of a fireman too. I use that word, oh, he's a hell of a fireman. Oh, they're great firemen. This is not just throwing compliments out. These guys were serious. I mean, when you're going all night, and that's about the last thing you want to do at about 5 a.m. is stretch one more time. Right. And boy, they're right there stretching, and nobody's complaining. They're doing their job. Just amazing, really.
Pete, pull that pick back up.
Yeah.
So which side is the squad on?
The left side is the engine. The right side's the squad.
All right.
And
so
I just happened to show up
80 something. So what is this like? This Firehouse is like from 1800s, right? I mean,
1999. It was the 100th year anniversary. It was 1899 quarters. We had a hayloft in back.
Really?
That's cool. We had a hayloft with that big 8x8 that went out with the ring that you pulled the hay up in there. That was still there. We turned it into a workout room. We put a floor in and chin-up bars and weights and stuff and bicycles, and we worked out there. It was
where are you in this picture?
Right. Second from the right on the bottom. I was working that day.
There we go.
I have my Engine 41 shirt on, actually.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was the dog's name?
That was actually a private guy's dog. That was Bernie McCartney's dog.
Bring in the prop dog.
Yeah, he was a prop dog. He was a prop dog.
They're saying, some guy in the chat, Dave, is saying rumor is that Frank had a little Halligan. Rumor or truth?
I had a baby Halligan, I called it.
You did.
Well, here's the deal. I always carried a Halligan. That was my tool of choice. You could do anything. You could open a wall. You can stand on a couch and pull a ceiling. You can take a door off its hinges. It's a great tool. Million uses for it. But when I was a boss and I'm standing there, some decky would come up and say, "Hey, let me use your tool for a second, Cap or Lou. Let me use your tool. You ain't getting my tool." So finally I decided to buy my own tool, and I bought this Halligan. It was about 14, 16 inches maybe. Great tool.
That's what I do.
It was really weird. I'll tell you. And talk about how well I was treated, how incredibly well I was treated. The last day of my tour of duty, before I retired, my very last day, and I'm putting my gear on. I goes, has anybody seen my Halligan? It's around. Don't worry about it, Cap. Yeah, but I'd like to have it on the rig, So at my retirement party, they had a little plaque, and they chromed that thing and put it on a piece of wood and hung it up at Engine 23's quarters.
Nice.
Kind of a little bit beyond what anybody could really expect from anybody that you worked with,
No different than knowing guys for 2 months and they go down and co-sign for a minivan for you, right?
There you go.
Unbelievable.
Well, that's that brotherhood, man. I got to tell you, it's
life of like a suckle.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You never gave your tool to somebody and they threw it down the hallway, did you? That's
I better not ever do that.
Never. Tell a certain guy, like, if it offers you were now ask a kid a new program.
My
right? Whoa. I didn't say it was you. What are you?
Well, you get a guy who stretches. The guy stretches in, right? He, a young guy, knocks the fire down, fogs it out. And he goes out to drop his tank, right? And so he comes back in, somebody else has the pipe, and now they want your tool. Go get your own damn tool. You should have brought a tool in when you went out to eat your tank,
Yeah.
So that's the whole story behind the baby Halligan. And boy, I love that little tool.
Nice. I carried the same thing. Mine was probably about that size, 14, 16 inches. And a guy gave it to me on the ads. It was a regular Halligan. They cut it and shortened it and welded it together, right?
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
so it was heavy. I could do anything with it. So he had his initials on it, on the ads. And when he gave it to me, he retired. He gave it to me, and I kept the initials on. The guys used to ask me for years. Like, I was a boss for how long? 16 years. So the guys used to ask me all the time, like, whose initials are that? You know, who is that? Who is that? And I used to tell them, this is the guy who gave it to me. I said, it's bad juju. It was Ed Curley.
Ed Juju.
Ed Curley?
Yeah, it was bad juju. I said, it's got to stay on there. It's his. It was his. And I would leave it on there. So when the time came that I was retiring, one of the guys in the squad was getting promoted not too long. So I went over to him and I said,
Let me guess. Ralphie Longo.
No.
Oh, damn it. Who?
So I said, Bricado. So I said to him, I want to give you this tool that was given to me. I want you to carry it on, blah, blah, blah. I gave him, whatever. He was so honored that the next day I came in, he had the guys on the squad, a couple of guys that could weld. He put my initials as well on there. And now he's an officer now. And he said to me that he's going to do the same, and keep it going. So the tool is still going.
So, 50 or 100 years from now,
Lou, it's like the Stanley Cup, man.
That's it, baby.
Stanley Cup.
Nice.
No, it was, like you said, it was an honor that he sent me a really heartfelt text, and it was special to me. I know that it's out there still doing the thing.
I did not know that story. You're 40-something years. I never heard that story. Amazing. Oh, all right. So where were we here? So 23, and you get. Oh, wait a minute. You get promoted captain, and you get assigned to ladder 28. I was going to say, wow, you finally went to a ladder company, ladder 28.
Right. It's the only time I was ever assigned to a truck company in my whole life, and I didn't know what. I'm telling you, squad guys are supposed to know how to do everything. They can throw up a tower gun or whatever. But I kind of wasn't used to going on a roof. I was kind of used to going in, and it was a little bit of a learning curve I was only there 6 weeks, okay, and I got kicked out of there by somebody who wanted that spot. That was Engine 21, Ladder 28 was a top-notch company on the west side, and all good guys, and everybody wanted to run there. So they bumped me from there to, I think I told you.
Engine 38?
Engine 38, which when I came on the job was a super busy company, again, got burned out, and was really slow there. And somebody wanted that spot, and I got bumped to Engine 58. And that was a busy company for any officer, because that was a little bit more, it was kind of a brick neighborhood and had smoke alarms, fire alarms, and things like that. So we were always, all day we were going on, schools and house alarms. Then all night we were working fires. So you got absolutely no rest. It was probably one of the hardest companies I ever ran. I was there about a year. Damn, Eric, this guy keeps calling me.
Come on, Eric. What the hell, bro?
Eric, it's not over
Eric,
yet.
you're
Crying out loud.
He's one of my sons, but come on.
Eric, you've got a live show going on here, Eric. Come on.
Explain it to him.
Come on, Eric. Don't make me give you this, bro. I'll give you this.
I'm going to send a text at least, I'm not going to talk to him. Send a text.
I'll give you a call for Christ's sake.
Good times. Yeah, it was all right. So I got bumped out of there. I went to 32s and I went to 58s. I did a year there. No transfers at 58s for a year for whatever reason. And we were busy. Again, that was now all that big business was going on down at Engine 50, Squad 6, Engine 23, 58s, and the companies that were in that battalion. And so it was a busy place to stay. And again, I was very tempted to stay there because the crew was awesome. And, but I figured, I only got a couple years left here before they're going to make me retire. Might as well go back to the squad.
Come back home. Come back home. Right, Pete? Yeah. Just when they thought I was out, they dragged me back in. Come on. So 2005.
Yeah.
You transferred to Squad 3 as a captain.
I mean, it's only fitting you retire there, right? I mean, it's only.
It was great. It was nothing. I could never ask for anything more to be able to be in a camp that I had spent about 22 and a half years there, 22, 23 years. On and off, back and forth.
Yeah.
As the decky and then as the captain of the house. And
wow.
But again, the guys just treated me so well there. And I can't complain about any place I've ever been or almost any guy I ever worked with. Most of them were pretty darn squared away.
So where did you enjoy it the most? What rank in Rescue 3? I mean,
I think being a captain is a pretty good job. I'll tell you right now, especially until they start picking you up to go do chief orientation or act chief for the day. That's not so much fun. But a young captain, it's a good spot. You got a little drag. Guys treat you well, and I like that spot a lot. That and senior lieutenant's also another good spot because you're in one company and you're never called to be acting chief as a senior lieutenant or any of that other stuff that goes on. So that captain spot was pretty sweet. And I could have done that.
You covered all the ranks in Squad 3.
Yeah. I was never a sergeant there.
Oh, all right.
I made sergeant. Actually, I made sergeant there, and then I didn't come back again for a number of years till I was a junior lieutenant. But I would have liked to. I would have liked to have said I served every rank there,
That would have been awesome, right? If you served every rank in the squad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, even for me, going back to the squad as I was there as a fireman and go back as a lieutenant was a great. I felt honored, you know what I mean? And being in the squad, it's like Disney World, right? The guys are so motivated. You don't really have to. I don't have to do anything really. They make you really just easy peasy.
Good thing you had a good friend. Come on back. Come on.
That's exactly what it was.
Back there. Come on.
Right? And we were close. We were all close, and we all loved each other. I still do love those guys. I mean,
no doubt.
I go back to Detroit, and I've been retired almost. Oh, retired, not almost. I've been retired 15 years now. And, you can't expect too much from your old running mates, to spend too much time with you. They've all moved on, and yet I still seem to run into my guys. We meet up at the bar, or in case go to the Firehouse, and, if they're working, come on down, Mr. Eric, come on, have soup with us, and go down and hang out with the boys for a little bit. But funny thing about when you're retired, and you retired guys come into your quarters and, hey, man, Tom, come on, sit down, have a cup of coffee, have lunch with us, And after a period of time, you start to realize that they don't fit in anymore, in a sense. And I always said, I'm talking about fires 10 years ago. They're talking about the fire they just came back from. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of detachment when you, retire. You're still welcome there for a little while. Come on, get the hell out of here. We got a day.
You don't want to wear your welcome out, You
wear your welcome out, exactly. I never want to do that. So, but I visit a lot of fire stations since I've been back, and everybody is just extremely kind. That's about all I can say. Really, really kind to me. And I'm blessed in that respect.
It's always great to have an old timer show up, and who the heck doesn't want to hear those stuff? What the show is, right? You want to hear the old stories and what they did and how they feel about being in places. That's the best part. It's always a good thing. Then you kick their ass out. Make sure they don't come in bring a cake or something. God damn it.
Hey, do I have a time to get some ice for my vodka? I don't like to.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what? Hey,
let's go get his ice.
Before he does that, we should. While he's doing that, we could do the old school health and safety tip.
Okay.
Does that sound good? All right, so go ahead.
Your sound is all fucked up, Roof.
Yeah, Lou, you're all messed up. You may want to leave and come back. You're all echoey. In the meantime, guys, as you all know, the First Responder Center for Excellence is our sponsor, and they just want you to be healthy and safety. So they're asking us to present you with the old school health and safety tip. The First Responder Center for Excellence is not a not-for-profit organization dedicated to protecting the lives and livelihoods of first responders. Their education and research initiatives aim to bring greater awareness and understanding to the challenges of the health, safety, and well-being of firefighters, EMS personnel, and other first responders. The goal is to reduce line-of-duty injuries and deaths, as well as occupational illnesses. They are an affiliate of the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation. Now, today's old school health and safety tip of the day is regularly clean the bottom of your bunker boots. This minimizes the spread of fireground and other contaminants to reduce your risk of occupational illness. And that is the old school health and safety tip of the day. with the first responder.center.org. And if you're watching this on YouTube, guys, go ahead, put your phone up to the QR code that you're seeing on the screen, turn your camera on, and it will take you to the firstresponders.center.org. Get your information. We want you guys living long and long after you
take care of yourself, will you? You know, we got the Captain English on tonight. He had 34 years on. He's out 15 years, and we're lucky we got him, right, Roof? You never know what tomorrow brings.
The truth. That's the truth. You don't know what you're going to wake up to tomorrow. Yeah,
so take care of your health, will you? I just told Roofy I just booked 2 doctor's appointments for my GERD here that I got going on here. So take care of yourself, for Christ's sake. You want to live a long life. You got kids, you got grandkids. You want to enjoy your retirement, for crying out loud. You know what I mean?
Don't be macho.
If you have anything like this, go get that looked at, will you?
Or the ball bag. Show them the ball bag.
If you got a big ball bag.
If you wake up in the morning and you see this on your pants, go get it looked at, will you? For crying out loud.
Oh my God.
Well, I got up to get something the other day, and I sat back down and I screamed, like, "Oh my God!" And my wife goes, "What happened?" I go, "Damn, I sat on my balls again." Really?
Hello.
I like
All right.
Some guys have that problem.
Yeah. Well, now it's time for the most important part of the show, in my humble opinion. This is it right here, guys, ladies and gentlemen.
Center stage.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Please pull up Professor English. We're putting him on center stage.
That's right, because you guys know the deal. It's time for the old school tip of the day. Day. Take it away, Captain.
Well, okay, you guys are all, pretty big boys, but, I'm not a big man. I'm, 5'8", 5'9", 164 pounds. And I'm sure you've had a situation where you open up the pipe and there's a little bit too damn much pressure on it, and you can hardly keep it from slipping through your arms. I found a nice little trick. If you take the 1.5 inches or whatever size working line you use, throw it out in front of you, put a big bend in it, turn it into a big S. And when you open that pipe up, all the pressure is pushing down on the ground. That's a good tip for guys that aren't real big men and want to control that pipe. You can literally hold that line, that nozzle with one hand, whip it all around, total control, no pressure from the outlet of the pipe. That would be it.
Nice. Very to the point.
I could have used that like
you drunk up or something.
Oh man. Tell them you're live on the air, for crying out loud.
I'm live on the air, dude.
Dude, that's the first time. I love it.
He's telling me, tell some good stories, he says. Not this
oh
shit.
My God. He did. All right. Well, that was good.
That was good, Cap. I like it.
Yeah. I got one more piece of advice that I would say to any professional firefighter, especially officers. One of the things I think is one of the most demeaning things you can do to a member of your company is call them out in front of everybody. When somebody, and I'll give you a perfect example. I had a young guy, again, a 3-man truck, and the sergeant's on the aerial and his deckie's on the roof by himself. And that's a no-no. You never put anybody up on the roof by himself. So I took him back behind the rig very quietly. I said, look, I just want to tell you can't do that, and I've seen situations, and maybe you guys have too, where tempers get hot on a fire ground and somebody gets called out and MFing them and you dumb shit and all that. Doesn't do a bit of good. It certainly doesn't make you look good as an officer, that treating your men. You got to treat everybody with respect. It's not that hard to treat people with respect, even, people that work for you. And I that's one of the things I learned in my time in the union is everybody just needs to be treated with respect, and it's pretty darn easy to get along with folks when you do it that way.
Yeah, and it's especially for the people that work for you, because even in any leadership situation, you always pull them over to the side first, before you go above their heads. That's for damn sure. If there's somebody above them that you have to go to that besides yourself, you gotta always pull them to the side and say, hey, dude, listen, I didn't like this, or I didn't like that, or can we work on this? And they'll respect you for it. You're right. You're
Praise in
absolutely
public
right.
and criticize or critique.
You'll never be disrespected. Hey, I got one good story I'd like to tell you.
Shoot.
Do it.
It's not a super pleasant story, but it's a good story. So it was a typical night at the 23s, and the engine got a still alarm. We had a firefighter there that was working a work relief. He wasn't assigned there, so they pulled up to a 2 flat up about 3 blocks from the quarters, and there were a couple of police officers saying that there's a guy up there. You got to go up there and get him. So they went up there, but the place was rolling. It was really hot. Not a lot of flame, but it was really, really hot. So they rolled the box, and I went up there with my crew, and you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. It was super hot. And one of the guys brought up a pipe. I was a decky, of course, and he handed me the pipe. And it's, okay, good. I said, okay. And they're going, oh, hit it. It's so hot. Hit it. And I said, I can't hit it. You guys are in front of me. Everybody's got to get behind me so I can open the pipe. And so they did get behind me, but we still didn't see any red. And that's kind of a little rule we have. You don't open the pipe till you see red. What happened is the fire had started in the knee wall, ran over the top. And so the heat was pushing down on us, but we weren't seeing any flame. So I did something I normally didn't do. I opened the pipe when I didn't see any red, and I knocked down the drywall, which is very uncommon. In our structures, it's mostly plaster and lath, steel lath. And it came down, knocked off the firefighter's helmet, and his hair caught on fire like right away. And I took the pipe and I hit his head, took it out. And the fire was accelerating quickly because we opened it up. We gave it all the air it wanted, And I was a senior man on the scene. There was no boss in there with us. And I said, let's just drop down, grab the line, back out. It's time to get out of here. And it was what I did. So I got out, and my boss came up again, my mentor, Lieutenant Binder, and he goes, I said, Lou, there's guys in there. He says, no, everybody's out. I said, Kirsch, no, everybody's out. I said, okay. I said, what are we going to do here? The pipes, we left the line in there. He goes, where's the second line? He goes, they're using it downstairs. So we yanked on this line. It was real, like I don't know, it felt like it had like a sofa on it or something, And we pulled out this firefighter, and he was burnt to, you can't even imagine. He was the guy whose hair caught on fire. He had taken the pipe out of my hand, and he sat down in the corner and turned it on a fog nozzle and just sat under it. And later on in the hospital, I saw him. I go, Mac, what were you thinking, man? What were you doing in there? He goes, well, I knew you guys were going to come and get me. Well, hell yeah, we would have came and got him had we known he was in there. And just by the luck of pulling that pipe out, saved that guy's life. And he survived. He was off a year, burned his legs up real bad. We had hip boots back then. But he came back to work. He retired as a senior lieutenant out of the fire department. But that's just what happens. I mean, everything's going okay. You got the pipe, you got water. I mean, you got the power right there in your hands, to put this fire out. And then things can deteriorate so fast that there's no chance sometimes. You just got to make a move and get the hell out of there. Nobody likes backing out of a fire, but sometimes there's no choice,
Kev, you're on. Your mic is off.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
It's time to go. When you got to go, you got to go.
When you got to go,
you got to go. All right. Well, I'd like to thank you, Captain Frank English, for coming on. Great career. Thank you for enlightening us on what it's all about in Detroit.
That was very, very good, man. I enjoyed that.
Great career. Yep. I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you guys very much for having me on.
And once again, where can I find this book if they want to buy this book?
I don't know. I know. I think they only printed about 20 copies. No, you probably get it. It's on
Amazon?
It's on Google Books. It's on what's the one? Amazon.
Amazon.
I think it's on.
I'll put the link in the description.
1818 East Grand. Like I said, it's an easy read. It's not
very
thick.
easy. Look how thin it is.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Thank you
for coming on. Can't do the show without guys like you.
Yeah, I was going to say,
keep it up, man. Got great shows and there's great stories. It gets tough as we modernize. The brotherhood starts slipping away a little bit. You got to kind of keep it together. If we don't keep it together, who is?
Right. I agree.
Yes,
that's the whole point of our show, man.
Yep, I love it.
Bringing it back to the kitchen table. Yep. So we have on Monday, the 10th, Columbus Day. We have an All in the Family show. We have Pete's gonna like this one. We have an All in the Family show from Connecticut. I forget where they are in Connecticut.
New Haven?
No. I don't know. The Shapiro family. Oi, Peter!
What's going on, Peter? What's going on?
What's going on?
Forget about it, Peter. It's going to be such a show.
We got
what a show. I hope it doesn't cost us too much. Let's see how it goes.
Listen, I love these guys. We see them at all the shows. The father, we have the two sons. The one son is in a rescue, I think. Hartford. And the daughter. Is it Hartford? I think you're right.
That's what Procaccini says.
Yeah.
Mr. Procaccini's husband says Hartford.
Yeah.
Okay, Hartford. Yes, Hartford guys. And the one son actually owns a tower ladder. He's got it parked in his driveway. Drives his kids to school.
He drives his kid. He showed me a video.
Tower ladder.
He drove his kid to school.
Yeah. So we have them on Monday. And coming up soon, we were talking about respect. Never finger poke a chief out in the street. Because we actually have the chief that Roofy finger poked.
No, I did not finger poke him.
Well, it's a better story.
Are we going back on what happened?
Wait a minute. You didn't finger poke Chief Daly?
I did not. What? I mean, like that film? I didn't do that.
Well, if
you might have had a discrepancy.
Hey, I need a lot of promo for this show. This is the chief that Louis finger poked and then later slapped in the face.
I have
it was an awful thing that happened.
No, we got.
That's when Louis got lifted.
That's the only thing that ever came.
Ruffy's gonna love him. He's a big hunter. Him and his sons, big hunters.
No, I know.
And his son's on the job.
Jerry Murtha.
Oh, the whole hunting world, Pete. You know, there's a little inner circle going on in the hunting world. Yeah.
That's because they used the 17 slide with the 42.
This is what they use. Bow
hunters. All right.
Only men use bows, bro. They don't use guns.
What?
Come on.
Stop.
Yeah. Next thing, Louis is going to go with a Bowie knife in his teeth.
I don't want to take anything away from your show, but I want to tell you something. We went to New York twice for 9/11, and we were treated so well by Ken House in particular, and it was such a moving experience to go there and be part of New York's grief. And we never even got. By the time we got marched over to the church, this is the second year now. It was raining, and we never even got in the church. But that's the kind of turnout that was there. It was an incredibly gathering of American heroes. Unbelievable.
They get into the church, but they showed you a bar like 4 blocks away, right? You happened to stumble.
Yeah, well, the funeral was well on by the time we even got there. By the time we even lined up there, it was moving along already by that point.
I gotcha.
That's how many people were there. It was incredible, incredible, wonderful.
All right, Petey Piper, what do you got?
Well, you have a shout out, don't you?
I have a shout out.
Oh, I got one too somewhere.
Yeah. So hold on a sec here. Let me pull it up.
So. Just another one on the list. So this is firefighter Mike Toll, ladder 20. Just passed away from 9/11 related cancer, September 29th. He was their senior man, and he took them through the 9/11 stuff. So the guys just sent me something. They just wanted to give him a shout out. Unfortunately, he just passed away.
Sure. I got one too as well. I got a young kid, man, from Flower Mound Fire Department. I don't know exactly where that is. He's a firefighter, paramedic, G. Wade Cannon. Only 33 years old, died of cancer. Well, rest in peace, brothers. This is a serious job, man. So,
definitely is.
And I have a quick shout out. Today on the job, on another job, it's the NYPD in this freaking maniac wild city we live in. Guy was running around with a butcher knife, slashing at people, slashing away, slashes this cop's nose from here to here. Okay. And the cop has his nose hanging off, And there's actual body cam footage where he still managed to take out a taser, not his lethal. I would have opted for the lethal because one less dirtbag on the streets. But this man had the heart to take out his taser and deploy his taser and stop this absolute maniac.
When was that? Today?
It was today. This guy's face was cut from here to here. I'll get the name next time, but I just wanted to give a shout out to that guy for having the wherewithal and being too kind. Next time, shoot him, please. I prefer if you plug the guy.
Oh, well, next time, come after me because I could use a few inches off my nose, bro.
Dude, it was the most horrific thing. I saw the post-mortem on it, and the dude had his freaking nose cut from here to here. He was in pretty serious condition, but
so he's getting crazy.
And you see
like the Wild West, bro.
His hands and the yellow tape.
All right, Pete, we got it.
Out of control, man. And the guy was still smart enough to do that. Great work out there, bro.
The real thing is, I don't discussed it, but the lieutenant from EMS.
Oh yeah.
I thought we hadn't talked about it.
Did we? I don't know if we did or not. But
just freaking crazy animal stabbed her to death while she was going to get her lunch.
25 times.
I remember her from EMS too.
Yeah. So
9/11,
sister. Yep.
Yeah, 9/11. She was there.
Yep.
All right, Petey, take us out. Let's end it in a somewhat good thing here, for God's sake.
I'm sorry, but there's a lot of crazy things in the world, you guys, and we have to talk about them sometimes. But I love you all, and thank you guys, all of you, for your service out there. You're so appreciated. You really are. Cops, EMS, fire, everybody. One big brotherhood and sisterhood. Love you guys. And rest in peace to those who've passed. All right, audio guys. We're going to do this quick tonight. Find us on any of the players, okay? Just go there. Subscribe. It's free. Listen to us at the gym, wherever. YouTube.com/Gettin Salty Experience. If you want to watch the show, if you're not watching it now, hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Instagram, find us at Salty Dog Inc. INC. Okay. Great photos, great feed. We're adding reels. We're doing fun stuff there. So go check it out. GettinSaltyApparel.com. That's where we ply our wares, ladies and gentlemen. And you can get cool hats, cool accessories. Check it out. Thank you to everyone who helped us out in the super chat tonight. Means the world to me. Really does. Thank you for everyone who's hooking us up in the super thanks. That's the YouTube version of Patreon. We really appreciate that. Facebook, guys, if you're on there, hit up the Getting Salty fans page. Don't read the rules and then follow them, and then you won't get booted. Selling crap or whatever. It's pretty simple. Getting Salty ads, ADS, Getting Salty ads at gmail.com. If you guys want to advertise with the show, hit me up. I will give you my spiel. All right. Getting Salty Experience at gmail.com for general Q&A for the show. And last but not least, Coop's Podcast at gmail.com for all of the news show stuff that we do, cocklofts and cocktails, all that good stuff. Send us your helmet cam footage, your fire photos. You guys know the deal. You've seen the show, and if you haven't, go see it. It's on this channel.
All I'm gonna say is Mrs. Procaccini's got she's got a new contestant. We have one of the brothers sent in his hot little Mexican mama.
Whoa!
So we will see that in the next cocktails and cocktails.
That's the only thing that would get me. Yeah. My God!
Before we get into that, you know what? The EMS woman, she actually died in the line of duty, so she deserves the 5 bells, bro. Died in the line of duty.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Also, Eugene Venezio. I don't have all the information on Captain Graham's nephew. I will get it for the next show that we do for Monday night. And that's all I got. All right, guys. Cap, much respect, much appreciation. Thanks for coming on, sharing your career with us.
Thanks for having me, man.
No time. Petey and Lou, I'll see you guys on Monday night.
See you guys on Monday.
Yep. All right.
Hit him with the tagline, as we say in the biz.
Yes, here it comes. Stay low and go.
Stay low and go. You got it.
All right, Cap. We'll see you at the big one.
All right, buddy.
Stay safe out there.
Thanks
everybody.
for everything, guys. Great honor.
Thank you, Cap. See y'all later.